What is going on, everybody? It is SLP Reg, and we are back with another field review. This Loki might be a series for me, so I'm going to introduce some review formats that we're going to follow in this video. The first one is field conditions, the second is player base, third is do they enforce their rules, and fourth is just employee interaction. So first up is field conditions. I honestly was not expecting like a lot from this field. I've heard like before I went that basically everything was like recycled materials. There were no like two-story features. It was a super basic field, like even more basic than like fields like PBSL that have multiple two-story like features, I guess. The only fields that I played this day were the mounds, the fort lumberjack field, and some other field. The fields were good. Like I just said they were pretty basic, but that doesn't mean they were bad. Like it's basically what you would expect from an air zone field, but I liked how flat things were. I wouldn't say the sides were very even. A lot of the maps it seemed like one side was a lot better than the other, which is fine because you switch sides anyway, but that's just something to note. Moving on to the negatives, I would say the biggest thing is if anyone is over the height of 4 foot, most of like the cover is going to be at your waist. Like, you can even see in this clip, I found like one of the few things where like you're actually protected. You don't have to get down on your knees to play the game. I don't know if that sounds like much, but it was very annoying. I guess like the other thing would be like the sides not being exactly even, and it was like really hard sometimes to find places to run. There would be like really thick brush, or there would just be like rocks, roots, huge tree branches just like on the ground. It wasn't like that for like every field because some fields were like actual fields. They weren't like dirt patches. There were paths that you could run, but you had to run those paths. Like there was like your risk of falling or something. I'm not giving every like criteria a ranking. Maybe we'll do that next video. I would say overall it was pretty good. We're going to be combining two of the categories. We're going to combine the ref interaction and do they enforce their own rules. Basically, to start with, I went over the rules before I went there. It says nothing about like not being able to use binary at a field. Like this is a turnoff for me for fields. If you don't want people using binary at your outdoor field, you really need to put it in there. You can't just wait for someone to have it and then enforce it on the spot. Like genuinely. And the thing is like they also say you're able to use full auto 25 rounds per second. You cannot use it there. There wasn't a single field where we were able to actually use full auto. And as far as I could tell, there weren't any fields. I'm sure there were some. We just didn't play it. But as far as I could tell, you could not use full auto there. So this is the ref for the first half of the day. His name was Darnell. He was super chill. He was the one who told me I couldn't use binary. And like I wanted to say something, but like I also like knew he was a referee. He just didn't want people walking up to him and like giving him shit. So I was like, yeah, no, like I got you. Like I'll turn it off. Darnell was super chill, and that's why I turned it off, and it was fine. But like this is exactly why you need it in your rule book because it feels like it's targeting whenever you tell someone who happens to have a binary switch to turn it off. Going into the worst part of this day, I decided I didn't want to play the last game, so instead of playing the game, I just walked off the field. There was a woman who had been playing with us. She was walking like 40 yards in front of me. They had no iPro on. They were walking off the field with no iPro while there was still a game going on. But as I was walking up to around the black tarp that you can see around that tree, I got stopped by a referee, and he had a few things to tell me. The first thing he tried to explain to me, I guess, was that I needed to have my barrel cover on. And I have a Polar Star, my magazine was out, the air was out, and I had my barrel cover in my hand putting it on. The second thing he said was that I needed to tell my referee that I was walking off the field, and he said he'd be giving me a warning, but that I wasn't in trouble. So for whatever reason, I won't insinuate why, but he felt the need to come over and make both of those comments to me, while there was a woman who did the exact same thing I did, but was walking out with no eye pro. He was more concerned about the guy with the dye mask than he was the woman with no eye pro walking off the field. So after he said that shit, I just stared at him. And like eventually he was like, "So do you understand?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." Like I just walked away. I think it was just like extremely like stupid to say either of those comments. Especially like going up and saying that I'd be given a warning for both of those things. I didn't mention the woman or anything like that. I just like I said I walked away. But like what a way to leave a sour taste in your mouth as you're leaving the field. And this low key like might be on me, and there could be good reasons for this, but I personally like do not care. If I want to walk off the field, I just am. That's just where I'm going. Like if I need to get off the field for whatever reason, like I'm gonna walk off the field. And if you want me to tell the ref, one, I don't think I should, but you should probably tell everyone at the start of the day or when like every game that if you need to walk off the field, that you'd have to tell the ref because I wasn't like told by anybody, and yet like I said, I got a warning. I got a warning for not telling my ref I needed to leave the field. Moving off that shut of a referee, the other two refs, Darnell and the other one who was reffing, were really good, or they were really chill, so that was good. They enforced all the rules. They're even enforcing rules that don't exist. So I would say that was also good besides the ones that don't exist. The final category that we're going to be reviewing today is the player base there because that's a huge category for every single field on the planet. Shout out to these two guys when we did a game mode where it was 4 groups of 3. These people were on my team. They were cool. Shout out to the guy who walked up and introduced himself to me. Shout out to the kids who teamed up even though we were doing a free for all. Shout out to those kids. But yeah, no, I would say overall this is a pretty good experience for at least player interaction. We're going to be giving Outdoor Extreme Linglestown a 6.5 out of 10, and I'll tell you why. It was overall a good day, especially for going by myself. I don't like playing by myself, but I was still able to at least somewhat enjoy myself. Some of the fields weren't that good. I obviously the interaction with one of the managers because he was just sitting in the house. I don't think he was an actual ref. Overall, the fields were flat, which was nice. The walking wasn't crazy. The people there were decent, and there weren't a whole bunch of cheaters. The refs were cool outside of the manager. So like overall, I would say it was a good day, and I would have been higher, but obviously like I have to dock some points for some stuff, especially that last interaction that really rubbed me the wrong way. I imagine if I came here with like 4 of my friends, this could be like an 8 out of 10 day, 8.5 out of 10 day. Do want to go back and see some of the other fields. The reason why there isn't a lot of gameplay in this video, I somehow, whenever I thought I was recording, I was really not recording, and whenever I thought I wasn't recording, I was recording. So I essentially got zero gameplay footage outside of the few that I showed you. So we will also start doing this. I'll basically just like put every field that I do a review on in this tier list maker. So far we've done PBSO, which is at a D. I'm going to put Outdoor Extreme at a B. Outdoor Extreme isn't necessarily 2 tiers above PBSL. It's just the last like few times I've gone to PBSL has just been terrible, and I do not like the fields. I don't like how much you have to walk, how much is not flat, how much you're running and you'll trip over a rock or something. So that's why PBSL's down there. But I will say PBSL can easily be risen depending on how bad are the fields that I go to. Like if I go to a field worse than PBSL might go to a C. Or if I go back to Linglestown and it's really bad, like the maps are worse and the people are worse, this could go down to a D and this could go to a B. Just explaining how the list I guess will work. This video is already way too long. I try not to make videos as long because I think they're kind of boring sometimes. But if you guys like this style of video, you want to see more airsoft reviews, let me know in the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe.